Every now and then I get a little bit nervous that the best of all the years have come by.
Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit
terrified, and then I see the look in your eyes.
Turn around, bite eyes. Every now and then I fall apart.
And I need you now tonight, and I need you more than ever. And if you only hold me tight, we'll be holding on forever, and we'll only be making it right, 'cause we'll never be wrong.
Welcome back. Yes, we are back in the Beat Laboratory, as I like to call it, at my office. So today we are going to be a short, sharp, shiny one. It's going to be a little bit a part of my portfolio. So my, evidence of my learning is what this video is a part of. So last video you looked at like what my goal is going to be and where I'm going to go with it. So it's about running a marathon. So today is that first step in that process, is just gaining some understanding in I guess that research side of things. What am I learning? Because I know nothing about marathon running. I know absolutely diddly squat about it. So it's going to be an interesting one. But today's quick sponsor is our friends over at Camelback. All right, if you need water, you need it ice cold all day long, Camelback is the brand for you. Stainless steel water bottles. I throw these around like there's no tomorrow. So we thank Camelback for their sponsorship and their support in today's episode. So let's get into it, guys, and check out my portfolio and me starting my journey on running a marathon. Okay, so today we are going to get a little bit inside my thought process and looking at like where I've started. So first thing that I did was now block out my training plan, but the first thing I did was I looked at like how do I create a training plan, because I've got no idea where to start. So the first thing I did is I just did some quick Googling, looked at like marathon training plans for beginners, and there were 3 or 4 that popped up as PDFs, and I had a quick peruse through. So with this first one, I looked at it, I liked that I was able to see how I'm slowly increasing my load on running, which was pretty comforting to me as I'm starting from nothing. So I found that really helpful. The Nike running guide, I actually found that it was pretty cool. But a lot of running that needed to be done. It's around about 5 runs a week, which for me seems ridiculous. And then same with this ASICS one here. So when I'm looking at it, this training plan is designed for beginning runners who can comfortably run a distance of 10 kilometers. That is not me. I cannot comfortably run 10 kilometers at this point in time. I can do it, but it's not comfortable. All right. And then this one here was something that I looked at. It was for the Sydney Marathon. So a really handy one, as it's kind of like linked to a marathon. So if we have a look, it kind of had like some recovery or active recovery / a rest day. It had 3 to 4 runs in there, or 3 runs in there, which was a little bit comforting to me compared to this one, which was calling for 4 runs a week, which for me seems insane. I then watched a couple of YouTube videos. I watched this guy here. I found him really easy to understand and follow along. Ben Park was his name. And he's got a whole bunch of videos about starting your first marathon. So for me, I found them really helpful. And this is a screenshot that I took. One thing that I liked about this one is that he didn't have the same run on every day. For me, time management is something that I'm pretty poor with. So if I feel like I need to move things around and be flexible with it, this sort of like look of a training program would be helpful. But I also found that it would be pretty tricky given the fact that it's also got 4 to 5 runs a week, and again, something I will struggle with. I then looked at this one here, the marathon training plan. Again, that was all right. He was a bit hard to follow along with, but one thing I did like about it is that he had it broken up into sections. So for me, that was pretty handy. It's able to see like those goals, achieve them as you go, and that then resulted in this training program. Which is something pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of it. I broke it down to the 20 weeks or 21 weeks that I think we've got from today's date. And I just looked at that gradual increase. I have 2 runs a week and then like a third optional. And I looked at that because I thought, well, I'm going to be doing footy training. So for me, that's probably where that I can get rid of that third run. So 2 runs, one being that long and slow run that they all kind of spoke about. Like in this one, he's got that long run consistently going, where you want to just kind of build up your distance, but not running at a significantly hard pace, which I think for me is something really cool and really easy to do. I feel like I just want to build that confidence with running. Then I just did some general research about marathons, and I found this page here, which was 11 tips for first-time marathons. This is a Runner's World. It was published a couple of years ago. And the four main takeaways for me were, the first one was give yourself 20 weeks to train. That was really comforting for me because I have no idea how long it's going to take me to prepare for this, and it's going to be really tricky. And I've got 21 weeks at the time of recording. So, I'm looking at this thinking, okay, that's great. I've got that much time. Find a support system. That was the second one, which I kind of already looked at when I went through how I got to my goal. So I've got those people around me that I can rely on or speak to if I'm having troubles. Maybe some people who can join me on a run as well when I'm not really feeling the best mentally and I can't be bothered. They can actually hold me a bit more accountable for it. The next one was plan out and practice refueling. This is, again, something that makes me really nervous because I know nothing about refueling and nutrition on running. I know a little bit from my conversation with Mr. Peter when he was practicing to do some long distance running, and he's given me some insight already around it. But for me, it's like that's something that I'm going to have to really work on and learn more about. And then the last thing was focus on you. So this is like the point that I raised around having that mental fitness as well as that physical fitness, because there's going to be that point in the race where it is going to be a mental battle. That kind of link. That was something that he mentioned in this video here is like, hey, it's going to be more mental. There's going to be a wall that you hit where you just want to stop. So again, with that, I think it's something I'm going to have to work on. So for me, I know that I am going to get some feedback now from my support system. So I'm going to reach out to Mr. Johnson, my good friend, Mr. Johnson, former math content creators. We were together just dominating that space, and now I've broken off. I've gone on a different journey. We'll go back to that journey. Don't you worry, people. Don't you worry. But I'm going to go to Mr. Johnson, get some feedback on this, ask him some questions, see if whether that's okay, whether that third run, doing 2 runs and then a third one that's optional. Sometimes you just don't go to footy training. Maybe I just don't do that run that week if I can get away with running twice a week. What he thinks about it, what he thinks about the incremental increase in running distance, whether he thinks like getting to 34 Ks is good enough, and I'll just pick his mind about it. So that's what the next episode is going to be about. It's me learning about marathon running. So that is all for today's episode. Now, a little bit about, I guess, when we link it to the performance standards. So the one that I thought I focused on the most today was that selecting and applying strategies, so E2. Now, the reason why I looked at that is because I looked into some research, some websites, read some training plans, but for me, I found that really hard to understand and wrap my head around, I guess, creating a running program just off of that. So I then went to I tried a new strategy out, which was watching YouTube videos, something that I found really engaging, depending on who it was. So that first video that I had in my portfolio there, I found that really easy to follow along with, and that strategy worked for me. So I used 2 different strategies to complete that task in there. I guess the other thing that you could look at is, for me, getting that feedback now. So that feedback is where I'm going to next. I have got a bit of a training program together. I'm now going to get some feedback. So again, ticking off that performance standard with, I guess, seeking and responding to feedback. Right now I'm in that first phase of just seeking feedback, and then I'm going to respond and apply what my feedback is. So that is all for today's episode. We've got to give a shout out. Let's give a shout out to my good friend, Mr. Arizona. Okay. He's pumped. He's ready for a big break that's coming up in the Christmas holiday. So I look forward to maybe catching up with him over that. So Mr. Arizona, if you see this, we're giving you a shout out. So make sure you let me know that you've seen it, who my sponsor was, and who my shout out was for today's episode.